Hello, you lovely people. Thank you for joining us on The Sweet Spot. It's Bruce Millington and Steve Palmer from the Racing Post. What's coming up in the next half hour is hopefully some expert betting advice and wisdom from Steve on this week's one and only event. It's a blockbuster. It's the Volvo PGA Championship at Wentworth. It should be wet, plenty of rain forecast. It should be wild. We've got all the live defectors back in the locker room. There's lots of rancour and beef. It's going to be really, really interesting. And we'll also reflect on last week. First of all, though, Steve, happy anniversary. 8 years. Can you believe it? That lovely sunny day down in Dorset when you got wedded to the lovely Nikki. And here you are 8 years on. Congratulations, mate.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah. We had a wonderful day at a farm on Sunday, actually, during the Made in HimmerLand. So, yeah, I tried to restrict my my checks of the Made in HimmerLand leaderboard. Fortunately, Marcus Helikilde stayed in contention throughout that visit. So, all is well.
A petting farm?
Oh, no, we didn't pet anything. We petted each other occasionally.
No, what sort of farm was it?
There was a cafe.
Went to a random farm.
No, there's a very nice cafe at this farm with amazing views and then romantic walks and whatnot. So I pulled the iron out the fire there.
Good man. Excellent. Right then, yeah. So let's start our review with the Made in Helikilde. No, not Made in Helikilde. Made in HimmerLand, sorry. Yeah, your man Helikilde, he threatened, didn't he? And I think he got a share of 8. So if anyone played very safe on the extra places, they'd have got a return there. Your other fella, I mean, he missed the cut in, I wouldn't quite call it comical circumstances. It must have irked you no end, didn't it? What happened there?
It did irk me, yeah. He took 10 shots at the final hole of round 2, yeah. So, he's on the fringes of contention. On moving day, I was expecting him to get back into it. And then I checked the leaderboard and couldn't quite get my head around what had happened. 10 shots on a par 4. So
how does that happen? I don't think I
lots of wild golf shots.
Was it drink? So, I mean, not alcohol, but
it's a really tough hole, to be fair. Lots of people were making bogey on it all week, but he just got particularly wild on it. But Helikilde, maybe it will be called the Made in Helikilde in years to come, because I think he's got a big future in the game. He was the leading Dane. All these other Danes were, all the spotlight was on them, the Hogarth brother, etc., etc. Really promising player, and tied 8th was enough. I got a little bit back from him, so. He's definitely one to follow.
Okay, and a lovely win, wasn't it, for our old Ollie Wilson, who, because we had an affinity with, because we hung out with his brother John during we went to America for the Ryder Cup, didn't we, all those years ago? Yeah. And he's a sort of little-known Ryder Cupper, isn't he? I was thinking if there was a pointless category of European and US Ryder Cup players this century, he'd probably be a pointless answer, wouldn't he?
He would. No, his brother's a friend for life, isn't he? Yeah, we had a great time. He's a real character, his brother, wasn't he? Yeah, totally different character to R.O., wasn't he? He called him R.O.
Yeah. He did. He called him R.O. Yeah.
He's a much more sort of aggressive character, wasn't he? Much more a man's man, if you will.
He was a tradie, was he? Was he a carpenter or something? Yeah.
I can't quite remember, but he didn't like Greg Owen, because it was all about being Mansfield's best player, wasn't it? At that time, it was a big battle for supremacy in Mansfield between R.O. and Greg Owen. So if you mention Greg Owen, it would really fire up R.O.'s brother. But very emotional scenes on Sunday, wasn't it?
Lovely interview, wasn't it? Because he just said about how hard it's been to get back in. I think he got his last win about 7 or 8 years ago, didn't he? And he'd really put the work in, and he'd done everything he possibly could. And it was a really nice interview, I thought. Do you know what? When those golfers, and it means a lot. Everyone thinks golfers are multi-millionaires, but you have to remember the expenses are very high. So for someone like Arrow, he wouldn't be that minted, and for him to do that and win there, I felt really choked for him. It was lovely, wasn't it?
Me too. I mean, you're seeing a lot of emotion on the DP World Tour, aren't you? The under fire DP World Tour, all the winners seem to be hugely emotional. Your Hao Tong Lees, your Richie Ramseys, your Arols. And I mean, the moral of the story for me was never give up on a player, because, you talk about Hao Tong Lee, he couldn't keep his ball on the planet a few months back. And then suddenly he's back in the winners enclosure. Our roll was so bad off the tee, he didn't even use a tee. He was using driver off the deck for a spell, because every time he teed the driver up, it was just spraying it everywhere. He got more control just by dropping it on the tee box and hitting a little cutty one.
That's amazing.
That's how much he was struggling. How much he was struggling.
He was 250 to 1 last week, though, so it wasn't particularly expected. And you've got to put a word in for this guy, Ewan Ferguson, who he beat, because he did absolutely nothing wrong. That would have been his 3rd win of the year. So I mean, it wasn't like he choked or anything. Our old just pulled it out the fire. This Ferguson is a golfer going places, isn't he?
I'm glad you've put a word in for him, because I would have put a word in otherwise. I mean, he's only 26 years of age, and as you say, almost pulled off a hat trick of victories there. So, as much as I love our old, I think it should be Ferguson on punters' radars going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Anyone else to note from that tournament? By the way, I would say what a lovely course. I really enjoy that. It's a beautiful course. That should be on our list, shouldn't it? When we get the transatlantic double up. And
yes.
So what have we got? We've got Leopard Creek, haven't we? We've got
Pecanwood is on the list, isn't it?
Sorry, Pecanwood, Leopard Creek, Cron-sur-Sierre, and I think that HimmerLand gaff is lovely.
I think you're absolutely right. It'd be a good tournament to go to, isn't it? I love the way they go around that little par 3, the short par 3. The crowds get really into it. I could love to just pitch up there for the day with a couple of tinctures and perhaps a couple of Carlsberg exports and enjoy that. But there's so much to do, isn't there, if you've got time and money?
Yeah, the trouble is, I suppose, if you're in Denmark, you wouldn't get Carlsberg export, would you? Because they export it, I'd imagine, probably. So that's a slight problem. But I'm sure there'd be some other nice beers, wouldn't there? Okay, so that was that. And then in America, no, not in America. Yes, it was in America. Of course, it was in Boston, wasn't it? And you cracked it there. The prices weren't around in time for you to preview the Live Golf tournament on the show with Jack last week. But you did point everyone towards the website and obviously to Wednesday's edition of the Racing Post, where you tipped DJ. And he won with the fastest putt I've ever seen actually go in the hole. I mean, how far past would that have gone?
It was bold, wasn't it? It was bold. I mean, he really sort of battled his way, scrambled his way into the playoff. Because he was in the trees going up the 72nd hole, and it was a brilliant up and down to get in the playoff. And then in the playoff, he hit one magnificent shot. The drive was absolutely fantastic. He hit one good shot. The second shot was a good shot to find the green. But the third shot, it has to go down as lucky. It's a lucky shot because to hit it at that pace was reckless in my opinion. And when it came with the club face, I was like shaking with like anger because he only needed it. It was midnight watching on the blooming phone. It's a really weird sensation, this Live Golf stuff. But he only needed a 2-putt birdie to continue the player for Anibal Lahiri. Like Joachim Niemann was already out, so you'd think he'd settle for just tickling up to the hole, and then you fancy your chances going forward against Anibal Lahiri in the playoff. But just whacked it in. It just sort of bounced, hit the back of the cup, bounced up and in. And
I mean, he would have de-greened it, wouldn't he? He would have fairwayed it. It was going so far.
Potentially would have done. Yeah, there's just a sense of shock around there, wasn't there? I mean, yes, it's probably the most animated you see. DJ he really did enjoy that, didn't he? And the crowds were going wild. And
the crowds were going wild. It looked like a real golf tournament, didn't it?
Yeah. I mean, Greg Norman couldn't wipe the sea. He looked like a Cheshire cat, didn't he, Greg Norman, by the side of the green? I mean, that was the best live event by a long way. You had a
lot of players in contention, weren't there?
Yeah, and all the best players. The cream rose to the top. And you got Joachim Niemann, Cameron Smith, Lee Westwood had a great chance, blew it on the final hole. I think, as you say, it was a proper golf tournament, and Live Golf. The Live Golf bosses would be delighted with that. I mean, whatever you think about it, you can't deny that was quite an entertaining golf tournament.
Do you watch it on your little phone, do you? Why don't you? Can't you watch it on the laptop or an iPad? Have you got a tablet?
I tried to get it on my TV, and it seemed to freeze on my TV. I don't know if that's a problem with my TV, but there are benefits to watching it on your phone because you can combine it with other things. I mean, often on Sunday nights and Sundays generally, me and the aforementioned wife have to separate so I can watch the golf and she watches dramas or whatever. But because you're watching it on the phone, there was no PGA Tour event last week. I actually managed to watch a drama and Live Golf simultaneously for a spell.
Wow. Which drama was it?
The Capture, that BBC new one. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah,
have you not watched it?
No, don't give it away because I need to watch that. Yeah, I hear it's very good.
I'd struggle to give it away. It's so complicated. I don't really understand exactly what's happening, but it's great to be able to contribute to family life and watch live golf.
I think the iPad is the way forward though, because you have that second screen option, but it's bigger. So yeah, have you got an iPad?
No, I don't own an iPad.
Get
No,
one for Christmas. They're brilliant devices.
Yeah, well, I could purchase one myself here and now. Yeah, I'm on a roll again now, Bruce.
Treat yourself to an iPad. Honestly, that's the way forward, mate. Definitely.
No, it's all. Yeah, I might buy one. Yeah. It's going well. 3 in a row now. 3 in a row. Whoa. 3 in a row. Callum Shinkwin, Rory McIlroy, Dustin Johnson. Yeah, I feel like I feel like the worm has turned. Certainly.
Oh, brilliant. That's good. Excellent. Nice one, mate. Are we all done with the retro aspect of the show?
I think we are. Yeah. I think we are. We can say we enjoyed
the tournament. Let's get stuck into that, shall we?
Oh, we've got one hell of a tournament, and I'm glad it's the only one because it deserves its place as the only one.
I've given Volvo a bit of a plug where they didn't really deserve it. Of course, it's the BMW, isn't it? How remiss of me. When did it switch from Volvo to BMW?
Oh, a ruddy long time ago. Yes.
Really?
Yes. You're living in the past there. But no, we like Volvos and we like BMWs. But we slightly prefer BMWs.
Yeah. It's the BMW PGA Championship. It starts at Wentworth on Thursday. And here are some indicative prices to give you a flavour of just how good this tournament is. Rory McIlroy heads the betting at 6-1. John Rahm is 8-1. 11-1 Matt Fitzpatrick. 16 Shane Lowry. 18 Victor Hovland. 25 Billy Horschel. 28 Tommy Fleetwood. 30 Tyrrell Hatton. 30 Adam Scott. 33 Taylor Gooch. Will that be Taylor Gooch or Taylor Booch? Because he's a live player, isn't he? Abraham Answer, another live. He's 35-1. Thomas Peters 40. Reed 45. Garcia 50. Rose, Grace, 60, and then we're into the 66-1 shot. So it's a really, really fantastic field. Looking forward to this no end. Steve, we haven't got issues with weather interruptions, have we? I mean, all of a sudden the summer's evaporated, hasn't it? There's thunderstorms all over southern England. Could we be in for like a delay or anything, or do you think we'd be all right?
Don't you worry, old son. No. It's all going to get out the way before the tournament starts. We have had a lot of rain. You don't need to worry about that because the drainage at this course now is amazing. No expense has been spared at Wentworth recently. The drainage, the irrigation is fantastic. Got a sub-air system in every single green, sucking the moisture from it. And Wednesday's forecast is all right. So, I think you're going to get a wonderful playing surface. Hardly any rain forecast for the actual tournament. Temperatures around 20 C. Hardly any breeze as well. So no, don't you worry, old son.
Okay, and of course, this is a timely moment to reveal that Steve and I, along with Warren Ashurst and guests, are back on Sunday for a Sweet Spot Live, taking you through all the action for the final round. It should be a thriller. So many great players. Tell us about the course, Steve, and then we'll get your selections.
The famous West Course at Wentworth, Virginia Water, Surrey, 7,267 yards, par 72, 4 par 5s, 2 of them come in the final 2 holes. PGA Championship host since 1984. Also hosted the World Match Play, of course, from 1964 to 2007. Been lots of course revision through the years. They're always tinkering with it. It's a test of accuracy more than anything else these days. Tall trees lining the fairways, lots of trouble spots. I found lots of trouble spots when I played there a couple of months ago. It's a very demanding course for the amateur golfer, and also the pros can get in some serious strife here. So tee to green control and sharp scrambling around the small greens is the key to success.
You played it with Wayne Mardle, didn't you?
I did.
Did you beat him?
Partnered. No, well, me and Wayne Mardle were on the same team against the members, and we were narrowly defeated in that match due to my abysmal putting on the 12th mainly.
What's Mardle's forte and what's his main weakness, would you say?
He's got a good drive on him. His temperament is good. He's a good golfer, to be fair. When you got the hand-eye coordination to be a 5-time losing world semi-finalist, he hates that because he never got to the final. But I think all sportsmen are good at sports.
Did you have some fun out there?
Very much so. I can't wait.
He's a lovely man, isn't he, Wayne?
He's a lovely man, and the member's a lovely man as well. And he's invited me back in October. So
has he forgotten you for pouring that pint over him?
But Wayne Mardle, he forgave me. I poured a pint over him in a hotel bar at near the Alley Pally. But then he had to go and change his shirt. But no, he took it in good spirits. Yeah, he's a good man.
He certainly is. Okay, without further ado, Steve, how many selections have you got this week?
4 eyes.
Oh, lovely. It's like they are the 4 right ones. Brilliant.
This is it. Yeah. I had a new dimension to it. I felt we needed to freshen that up.
I like it. No, that's brilliant.
These are the right selections. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, number 1.
Number 1 is Shane Lowry. And there's been some early money for him. He's 16-1 now. Get that face off. It would be criminal if Shane Lowry goes through 2022 without lifting any silverware. He's played some magnificent golf in terms of all-round consistency. Lowry's been in the form of his life this year. 13 top 25 finishes in 18 starts. Only 1 missed cut. That's from the wrong side of a draw bias in the US Open. Missed it by a shot. I cannot continue. Rob, I cannot continue with faces like yours around. Race.
Oh, go on. Sorry. Go
on. He's a desperately unlucky runner-up in the Honda Classic in February. You must remember that. He got caught in a monsoon on the final hole.
That's right. I do remember that. Yeah. I remember.
Won that tournament, but for the monsoon. He was 3rd in the Masters. He was 3rd in the Heritage. And then heartbreakingly, it's been like a season. The theme has been like near misses for Lowry this year. He finished in 31st place in the FedEx Cup standings before the Tour Championship. Top 30 qualified for the Tour Championship. So agonisingly missed out on the Tour Championship. Silver lining is he's had a nice little break to freshen himself up for one of his favourite tournaments of the year. He loves Wentworth. Regular contender there. 4th in 2011, runner-up in 2014, 6th in 2015, 6th in 2017, 9 top 20s in 12 Wentworth starts. This is the week Lowry finally gets over the line at Wentworth and finally gets some reward for what's been a rock-solid 2022 campaign. He's hardly put a foot wrong, Bruce. I'll just put some ice. Yeah, I just want to make one final point. It's not even ice enough. Because I could see your face, and
you've convinced me. Yeah,
I just want, if you've been looking at the Wyndham Championship, that might be putting you off, but don't be put off by the Wyndham Championship a month ago. The scores in the Wyndham were dismal, but there were good excuses for that. His clubs went missing in transit beforehand. They only arrived just in time for round 1. Then he thought he'd missed the cut, flew home to Florida. Made the cut by a shot, flew back again. Yeah, the Wyndham was a shambles. I don't want punters to look at that on the form book and think, oh, blimey, maybe he has lost his way a little bit. Disregard the Wyndham. He was 12th in the BMW Championship last time out.
Blimey, do you know what? The amount of golf clubs that go missing in transit, I reckon there's one particular bloke who works behind the scenes at one of these main airports who's got a garage full of like top golfers clubs and snooker cues as well. They often go missing, don't they, in transit as well?
yeah.
It happens a lot, doesn't it?
Worry them no end when they send their beloved clubs off. Yeah, they are putting a lot of faith in a lot of people, aren't they?
Very much so. Okay, Shane Lowry, very convincing case. The only reason I was sort of grimacing a little early on is that it just seems to, I don't know, my impression is that it's been a year of sort of disappointments and he's let us down a few times.
It has. We've been on him a few times, and he hasn't delivered the silverware. But look at that a different way. Yeah, the hunger's still there. We're at the end of a long season. Maybe some players might be losing a little bit of focus. Lowry does not want to be eating his Christmas turkey without any silverware to look at, does he? So
that's true.
I think he loves Wentworth, and
okay.
He's
what price is he?
The 18s is gone. He's 16-1. 16-1 now. I'm just gonna have a slurp of coffee before we move on.
All right, fair enough. Oh, you've got a new Le Creuset mug, haven't you? That's nice.
There we go. Oh, the oat milk. The oat milk's in there. The wife's trying to convince me to have the oat milk.
No.
Save the cow.
Right then. You're not going to go Thomas Peters,
No. I did toy with Thomas Peters. No, that would create some more faces, wouldn't it? Yeah. I can't keep up with the faces. No, you shouldn't give a face for this one. I think he's one of your favourites. Number 2, next best, is Matty Fitzpatrick. Nice face.
That's the stuff, yeah.
The US Open champion, the world number 11. Never before has Matt Fitzpatrick turned up at the BMW PGA Championship with such status. Early in his career, this tournament would have been a daunting assignment for him. A huge event in his home country, massive crowds, lots of pressure. Water off the duck's back now. He's a major winner. He's bursting with self-belief. That US Open he won was one of the best US Open shots in history, wasn't it? That bunker shot on 18. He walks with a swagger now, and his game is perfect for Wentworth. Tee to green control is essential. Fitzpatrick's added all that length, but he's still extremely accurate. He's got a mustard short game, and he's played well since the US Open. He was 6th in the Scottish Open. He was 5th in the WGC in Memphis. Last time out, 16th best scorer in the Tour Championship. Not a bad effort on your Eastlake debut. And there's loads of encouragement in his previous spins at Wentworth. 12th in 2017, 8th in 2018, 6th in 2020. Now he returns as the complete package. I think he'll really enjoy himself. And he could easily, icing on the cake, he could easily bolster the proud record of Englishmen in this tournament. 7 of the last 13 BMW champions have been Englishmen. Let's back the best. Let's back the best Englishman in the world. And final point, sorry, extra icing.
That's another one.
Extra icing on this cake. Let's not forget. Lest we forget, Fitzpatrick's maiden European Tour title came in England at a similarly tree-lined southern track. We were on him that year. 2015 British Masters at Woburn. He likes this sort of assignment. I just don't see how Fitzpatrick can be kept out of the frame.
Okay. I was going to say, our Owl almost won this, didn't he, back in the day? Do you remember that?
Our Owl. Well, there was a sequence of surprise winners in this tournament.
Yeah.
Up until about 12 years ago, and then every winner since has been a champion. There's been no real shock winners in the last decade and a bit. So, I don't think we're going to get a shock one this year, unless it's the next two names I'm about to say.
Well, let's see who they are. Away you
go. I got two 150 to 1 shots to bolster the two main fancies, and the first one is Marcus Kinhult, who like Fitzpatrick is a typically neat and tidy player, accurate driver, putts well. Wentworth is a great fit. He proved that in his debut in 2018. His DP World Tour form figures coming into the 2018 BMW PGA were miscut, 63. Then he opened with a 74 at Wentworth. But he played brilliantly over the final 3 rounds, finished 12th. He was 10th in the 2020 BMW PGA. And last year's miscut can be completely ignored. He was in disarray. He was trying to get his health back. He had epilepsy issues, and he was missing cuts everywhere. So don't worry about last year's miscut. He's a great fit for Wentworth. Fast forward a year to now, his game is coming back. He was 3rd in the Qatar Masters in March. He was 3rd in the Kazoo Classic in July. He's been 23rd in his last 2 tournaments, Czech Masters, European Masters. And like Fitzpatrick, he's already won a European Tour event in England. The 2019 British Masters went the way of Kinhult. He's only 26 years of old. Is Kinhult.
Is he really?
Yeah. It's amazing, isn't it? When he burst onto the scene, he was so young. He's in his late teens, and he had so much scope to be an absolute world beater. He's had a few issues with his health and various other things, but I think Kinhult still has scope to make a big impact on the game. And winning this would be the start.
Okay, and finally, Steve?
Finally, is Sean Crocker, another 150 to 1 shot, who seems to have had a little loss of focus since his breakthrough victory in the Hero Open at the end of July. It's understandable. Happens to a lot of players. They wait so long for that big moment. They celebrate hard. Difficult to knuckle down again and set new targets. He's had 3 lackluster performances since the win. Missed the cut in Cron's last time out. But I think that little break since Crans will do him good. Chance to hit the reset button, and surely the BMW PGA Championship has got such stature that Crocker and his caddy can get back to business. Wentworth is a ball striker's track. The punishment for errant shots at Wentworth is typically significant. Crocker, one of the best in the business on this circuit from tee to green, and he's played there twice. 44th on debut in 2020, 9th last year. Finished only 4 shots off the winner last year. That's my 4 against the field.
Lovely.
I'm ruddy excited.
I bet you are. Rory McIlroy's around about 6 to 1 best price. What price would he have had to get to before you would have considered tipping him, do you think?
Do you know what? I really don't fancy him. I'd want him into double figures before I'd raise an eyebrow, because I think he's got a lot on his plate this week. I mean, when he won it in 2014, he was in a very peculiar mood that week. I don't really remember, but he just had a very controversial split from Caroline Wozniacki. The wedding invites had gone out. Rory got cold feet, pulled the plug on the whole relationship, and then turned up at the BMW PGA. There's a bit of weeping in the media conference beforehand. But then he went out and he played with amazing freedom. When he got into the golf course, and was really, really impressive. And this time he's obviously arrived in great form. The storms you mentioned, will help him, but I think it will dry out. I just always see the potential for big numbers from McIlroy at Wentworth. This is a course where you need discipline. You got to be sensible. You got to stay in control, fairways and greens. That's not the McIlroy way. He's an instinctively attacking player, and it's easy to forget. if I said to you, let's turn this into a quiz, like a quiz.
Okay.
How many times has McIlroy missed the cut at Wentworth? But bear in mind that he's not a regular visitor. It's not like he plays here every single year. He just dips in and out.
I'd have said 3.
It's a good guess.
Don't really give you very long, did it?
It's 4. It's 4. He's missed the cut 4 times. I don't think, despite the fact he's a course winner, I don't think he's a Wentworth natural. And as I say, he's got a lot on his plate in terms of golf and politics, hasn't he? Well, he's admitted that he's gonna find it hard to stomach looking at your Patrick Reeds and your Ian Poulters. So locker room tensions, media inquisitions.
Mind you, he seems to be thriving on this. He's a kind of Cape Crusader for European and PGA tours, isn't he? Are they giving the live? I think there's about 15 or 16 live players, isn't there? Are they giving them their own locker room, or because I know they promised not to give them good tee times, haven't they? Or they're not having them in the TV 3 balls or anything. So they're doing their best to kind of ostracise them, even though they're committed to having them there. But it'd be good to have a camera on the locker room wall, wouldn't it?
You're right. I mean, McIlroy has been thriving, but they've been in tournaments where they're not allowed to play. And I mean, this inevitably going to be very awkward, isn't it? Because Rory's been so outspoken about how much he hates them. He is going to walk past a few of them. He might even maybe he's going to be showering next to a couple of them. No, that's probably stretching the point a little bit, but he's going to need to communicate in some way with these people.
Yeah.
And it's just unsettling, isn't it? I mean, I'm a lover, not a fighter. If I walk past someone who hates me or I hate them, it's uncomfortable. I think, a human being will inevitably be affected. Once he's inside the ropes, they're not going to pair him with anyone. He's not going to be in a 3-ball with anyone. But I just think it's going to unset him a little bit. And all the media men are going to be targeting McIlroy for a good hard chat, aren't they? And this tournament at the best of times is a circus. The crowds are massive. It's mayhem. And this particular event, I think McIlroy is quite badly timed for him.
Okay, fair enough. While I'm asking this question, you can have a quick slurp of your coffee.
Mate.
I mean, if you were doing end-of-year awards, most disappointing golfer of 2022 is undoubtedly Jon Rahm. Is there any prospect of him turning around his wretchedly poor season?
Yeah, I mean, he's the one that I fear the most, actually. I was very tempted because he's got a phenomenal strike rate in DP World Tour events. He's actually won more DP World Tour titles than PGA Tour titles, which is surprising given how little he plays in Europe. And he's not got as embroiled as McIlroy in the golf in politics. He should be able to concentrate on the job in hand. All the PGA Tour players just leave it to McIlroy now. He's the official spokesman, it seems. And I think Rahm will enjoy getting a bit of sleep because he had baby number 2, didn't he? I don't know if you knew he had baby number 2 just before the FedEx playoff. So, I would imagine he's left all the family behind. He'll have a nice bit of sleep this week. So, I give Rahm a big chance. He was runner-up in his only previous Wentworth start. But just prices and experience were the reasons I went for my man. Lowry and Fitzpatrick, seasoned Wentworth campaighners. Rahm's only played there once. There's lots of nuance to Wentworth.
Okay.
I think it takes a lot of getting to know, and I think down the stretch, my two have got better course knowledge.
Okay. By the way, talking of Wentworth regulars, there's a player who I was looking through recent results and had 2 very high finishes recently. But someone on Twitter said, "Could you ask Steve what's happened to Andrew Johnson? He's completely disappeared off the radar. What's happened to poor old Beef?"
Yeah, poor old Beef. Yeah. I mean, Beef struggles with his mental health. He withdrew from tournaments due to mental health issues, few injury niggles as well. So I'm afraid he's off the radar at the moment.
Well, let's hope he gets himself back in fine order because he's a good egg. He's a great character. I mean, I think the DP World Tour does social media very well, and I remember a lovely video of a young lad who's a good golfer, and I think Beef and Justin Rose sort of picked him up and drove him to Wentworth and played a couple of holes with him. And it was, do you remember that? It was really nice.
So, Beef will never be forgotten, even if he never makes it back to the level that
let's hope he does.
Was at. He's a much loved character, isn't he?
Yeah. And there was another Twitter question while I remember, Steve. Someone said, why was there no in-play betting during the live? I noticed that, by the way. Did you notice that?
I think there was early on.
I didn't see any.
Yeah. I got some in-play betting with Bet365 early in the event. Yeah.
No, final round there wasn't any.
Final round it drifted. I wasn't having a look on the final.
I'm just wondering why. Maybe the pictures are so delayed on YouTube that it's not actually live as such in terms of what you're seeing. I don't know. We'll have to investigate that, won't we?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but we like Live Golf. We're back next week with some more Live Golf. Live Golf Chicago next week. It's a triple header next week.
What else have we got?
We got the Italian Open on the DP World Tour. We got the start of the new PGA Tour season, the Fortinet Championship, and Live Golf Chicago. So hopefully we can get another winner this week, and then have some each way trebles next week, and we can deal with this cost of living crisis in spectacular fashion.
Well, I mean, let's not make the cost of living crisis any worse by betting with money we can't afford to lose. That's the golden rule. But the beauty of golf betting, if you say, Steve, is you can have a couple of little 50p each way trebles, and you've got more chance of winning big on that than you have on the lottery, I'd say. So it remains.
Yeah. It would be more remiss of us to encourage people to go and play the lottery. My daughter showed an interest in scratch cards the other day when we were in the garage. We were at the queue in the garage, and she said, "What are they?" And I said, "Don't you ever go near them. Don't you ever go near them. They're designed. You're guaranteed to lose. Use your nous, use your noggin, and you might have half a chance. But don't rely on scratch cards."
Absolutely. Before we go, Steve, can I just ask you about Aaron Rai? He's a player who I think been showing decent form. He's kind of underrated. I saw he was 90-1. Could you put me off?
No, I'm not going to put you off a 90-1 Aaron Rai. No. He's well suited to the Wentworth assignment. And as you say, he is an unfashionable name because he's got two gloves on and iron head covers. He's an unstylish operator.
Does he have iron head covers?
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
I can't have any kind of head cover, as you know. I've banged on about that for ages. Paul Keels and I were playing yesterday behind this bloke, and he was the slowest golfer I'd ever seen. I mean, the slowest walker. I've seen glaciers melt quicker than he moved, and it compounded it by him spending about a minute painstakingly putting this sort of woolly head cover back on. Oh, just kind of
Aaron Rai could grind his way into contention here. Yeah, I wouldn't put you off there, but I prefer my four.
All right, mate. Well, let's remind everyone who your four are.
Shane Lowry, Matty Fitzpatrick, Marcus Kinhult, and Sean Crocker.
Marvellous. And let's remind everyone as well that Steve and I, along with Warren Ashurst and guests, will be back from roughly 1 o'clock. If you keep your eyes peeled on social media, we'll let you know exactly when we're starting. But we've got a Sweet Spot Live on Sunday for the final round of the BMW PGA Championship. We would love you to join us for that. We'd love you to let us know who you fancy this week in the comments section. If you've enjoyed the show, hit that thumbs up button. And we're back on Sunday for Sweet Spot Live, and then back next Tuesday for another Sweet Spot with 3 great tournaments to preview.